Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East, Volume 1, Chapter 10. Emil talked to us on the realization of the Christ consciousness. He said, "It is through the power of our own mind or thought action that we are able to bring forth or realize the Christ consciousness. Through the power or process of thought, we can transmute and evolve our bodies, or outer conditions and surroundings, through recognition of this Christ consciousness within ourselves, so that we will never experience death, nor any change called death. This is done wholly through man's power to visualize, idealize, conceive, and bring forth that which he gazes upon. This is done by first knowing or perceiving or having faith that the Christ is within ourselves, seeing the true meaning of Jesus' teaching, holding our body one with God, made in the image and likeness of God, and merging that body into the perfect God body, just as God sees us. We have idealized, conceived, and brought forth into manifestation the perfect God body. We are born again, truly of and in the spirit kingdom of God. It is in this way that we can return all things to the universal mind substance from which they sprang, and bring them back or return them perfect into outer form or manifestation. Then, by holding them in their pure, spiritual, perfect state, the vibrations are lowered and the things we wish to create come forth in perfect form. In this way, we can take every false belief, every old condition, every sin, all of our past life. It does not matter what it has been, how good or seeming bad. It does not matter what mountain of false belief or doubt and unbelief or fear we or anyone else have erected about us or in our paths. And we can say to them all, I now return you to the great ocean of universal mind substance, from which all things come forth and where all is perfection, and from which you sprang, there to be again resolved into the elements from which you were created. I now return you, or bring you back from that pure substance as perfect and pure as God sees you, and hold you always in that absolute perfection. We can say to ourselves, I now realize in the old order of things that I brought you forth imperfectly, and you manifest imperfectly. Realizing the truth, I now bring you forth perfect as God sees you. You are reborn perfect, and it is so. We must realize that the inner alchemist, God within, has taken hold of this and has transmuted, refined, and perfected that which seemed imperfect, that which we brought forth and now are returning. We should realize that it is refined, perfected, and transmuted, just as our own bodies are refined, perfected, and returned to us as God's body, joyously perfect, beautifully free. Finally, we should realize that this is the perfect Christ consciousness in all and for all. This is hid with Christ in God. The morning of July 4th found us at the summit of the pass. Emil had told us the evening before that he felt we had earned a holiday and that he saw no more fitting time than the 4th to celebrate. At breakfast, Emil began by saying, "This is the 4th of July, the day you celebrate the birth of your independence. How fittingly expressive is this day? I feel that all of you must have more or less confidence in us. Therefore, I am going to speak freely. In a few days, we shall be able to prove to you conclusively that the statements I am making are true. We love to call your country America, and all of its inhabitants Americans. You will never know the joy these few moments bring to me on this day of such import, to be able to talk with you and see eye to eye with the small group of Americans who were, with one exception, born in the great land. Let me say that it has been the privilege of some of us to have beheld your country long before Columbus started on that memorable expedition. There had been other attempts at discovery, but they had come to naught. Why? Simply because of the absence of that one God-given quality, faith. The one who had the courage and faith to see and carry out the vision had not yet awakened. The moment that soul awoke to the realization that the earth was round and there must be land on the other side equal to that already known, we could see that another great historical epoch had begun to unfold. Who but the great omnipotent one, who sees all things, could have awakened that little grain of faith in the soul of Columbus? What were his first words as he stood before the Queen that day, not recognizing the higher power? Dear Queen, I am firmly convinced that the earth is round, and I wish to sail forth and prove it. I do not know whether you recognize it, but those words were God-inspired, and Columbus was recognized as one who had the determination to carry out what he undertook. Then the long sequence of events started to unfold, which was shown us years before, not in its entirety, but enough so that we have been able to follow. Of course, we dreamed of the almost unbelievable wonders to be accomplished and recorded in the seemingly short span of years that's passed, but those of us that have been privileged to live through it now fully realize that far greater wonders are in store for you, for your great nation. We feel that the time has come for your nation to awaken to its true spiritual import, and we wish to do all we can to help you to this realization. It appears that their interest in us was prompted by their great desire to have America accept the Christ consciousness and realize her possibilities. They know that her inception was truly spiritual, and through that fact, she is destined to be a leader in the spiritual development of the world.